So yeah, this is my little setup here. I got inspired to kind of share a couple things, and all of these things mean so much to me, and it's harvest time and everything, and I haven't shared for quite some time. And I've been feeling some kind of miserly energy, and I just what's the remedy for that? Because it feels really stingy, so many judgments, so many projections. Just harsh energies clashing back and forth. Really a lot of friction, tension, a lot of heaviness, a lot of resentment, a lot of bitterness and rage, and kind of, self-destructive thinking and wishing harm to others, and just self-justification, and kind of not really seeing the bigger picture and the reflection, and getting sucked into, a lot of the projections because of the false identification and the focus and the manipulation, misperceptions, And so, I've been looking at a lot of my own shit and my own stuff and the things that I don't like, and the things that have really bothered me seeing too, as a sensitive empath and picking up on different things. Of course, I have my own filters and my own lenses, but I'm sharing what I have seen in this theater stage play playing out that, we all perceive from our own lenses, our own places, our own degrees, our own experiences, our own space of being. We all have a totally different experience, but a lot of it is a collective projection. And so there is common perceptions and distortions or misperceptions that we share, because we all have been, herded into some camp or the other, or some identification, some tribal stamp of initiation, some kind of thing, where we have to defend it or be on constant vigilance to protect it, because of the just the dynamics of the last, well, really multi-generations, but especially amplified and really exaggerated, and that way, it has been easier to see, in certain ways, how these dysfunctional things play out, and how there is a pattern to them. And even if we are aware of those patterns, it doesn't mean that we're aware of them when we're in them, and how we're playing in them, and how we're sucked into them or baited into them again and again. Through certain means, and through our attention and our imagination, and our emotions are exploited and manipulated, and some vulnerabilities or entry points are infiltrated, because we all do have a shadow side and different weaknesses that, sometimes we don't even want to be aware of, and we reject, and so we don't pay them attention, and that sets us up for, the hijacking and infiltration, or kind of falling into things that, repeat in certain ways through certain forms of addiction for us. and reinforce like different stories and scripts that we play out throughout our lives with different people and different like archetypes of authority, I guess. And also there would be that opposite of like submissives. If we're operating in this domination and control like type of operating system or scheme or programming, you know, if there's someone above us, then there must also be someone below us, right? So it's always that inferiority, superiority programming at work that's always underneath the surface, where in order for our side or our position or us, you know, ourselves, our argument or our story to be right, therefore, like, someone else has to be wrong. And so we immediately unconsciously, make them the bad guy and reinforce our story to list all the reasons, you know, why they're wrong or what is fucked up about the situation. When really, we don't need to do that when we use true discernment. It's not like really about keeping score, which, you know, like we have been with false metrics and false measuring sticks and also carrots on the stick, like promises of reward, and then fear of punishment, and thinking that we get power and respect from abusing the power, misusing power. We don't even know, like, what damage we're doing in misusing and abusing, violating someone else's free will and autonomy and right, like, to be free, to be themselves and unharmed and unspoiled and undefiled and respected. I mean, gosh, we've lived, you know, in a hostile environment, in a hostile political environment. Social media has amped it up a lot with, like, some engineered kind of stuff, where I think some of it's bots and then some are shills, like, meant to really dig in their heels and, like, push, like, buttons, kind of like going off of a narcissistic playbook, to gaslight people or to, like, kind of, get a reaction of some kind. And, they have, like, this playbook that I've seen, to kind of minimize or mock or, kind of take away from someone's opinion, experience that goes against, like, the preferred, popular, only official, acceptable, like, way of thinking or being or, you know, believing. And it's become very, like, tyrannical, like, with everybody, like, having their own little tyrant egos. And, that's, like, fucking the ego on hyperdrive. And it's like, wants to be king of the world, like, the fucking monkey king, like, in the story of Buddha. Oh, that he thought he was the shit and he was the king of everything. And I just heard the story the other day, and it just, like, it's so, like, fitting for this time where our ego wants to take over this show and not let go of, like, really the bullshit and the patterns and, like, the fight of the right, we're right, you know, we're the right. And just to prove that we're right, like, if we're secure in our beliefs, man, okay, make the room and be curious and start to maybe ask people different questions to understand, like, where they're coming from. If we're so sure about ours, why do we keep, like, looking for evidence? Reinforce. Because, I don't know. Like, we've been trained to do that, like, to distract ourselves in so many ways. And, like, not just like with political or social or cultural beliefs, but like beliefs that we have about ourselves and beliefs that we have about others in our lives and beliefs that we have about relationships and about who we are. Like it comes from everything. It comes from the core, forgetting who we are and forgetting what we're for, It's so, I just have felt like really, people like, oh my gosh, they're just not like, they're just so wrapped up in their own assholes. It seems like there's no room for anything else. Like, it's like very miserly and, martyrly as well. Bleeding, like victim, stuff and miserable and just really thick victim, virtuous victim stuff though. Like, I'm righteous for suffering kind of a thing. And like, that's felt really, really oppressive the last couple of days because like, I pick up on that kind of stuff and like, I just see where like, where there is an entry point or a match, like within my energy field, like that, like kind of leaks that collective feeling like into my energy field where I feel it really, really deeply and intensely. Because there is that little part of me that feels that way too, but then like feeling the collective part of it, it overwhelms me. So I need to like look at it just like kind of, oh man, because it just like, it's so overwhelming, like the feelings sometimes that I get, like I need to look at them, like, and I don't know where they're coming from sometimes, and it's just like, what? And yeah, so it's been interesting in the last year, and like, this year's been a lot about judgment and how that prevents us from seeing a lot of things. And like, it's okay, like, to fucking be angry and to want to call people names and to be heard and like, like, just be angry about it. And but there's a certain time where it's just like, you gotta flip it and you gotta turn it around, or else you're gonna stew in that and burn yourself and everybody around you. And like, aren't we done with that? Are we tired of that? Like, I'm just, we've been pushed like really hard the last couple of years, like, so we could be worn down. And man, like, I've seen like what, like the suppression, the censorship, like the cancel culture, the like rigidity and the totalitarian attitudes and mindset of and the morality police and be yourself, but you you gotta be this way. Like, there is no room for the wildness, for that's what it seems like, for the healing, because of the stuckness in the perfectionism programming and in the comparison, and then and the outer pool of always looking on the outside, and kind of the vortex, the suck, the vacuum of that always pulling us outside of ourselves, so that we're pulled into the drama triangle. And like, for my sake and for what I've seen about this, is like, if there was nothing else that anybody else learned about, it was like the drama triangle dynamics. That would help so many people realize like exactly what's going on in some of the dysfunctional things when they've realized that they may be sabotaging themselves and playing into deceptive behaviors by like not even realizing that playing these drama triangle dynamics out, because it's so universal and prevalent, like everywhere in every relationship and and the relationship with ourselves when we are living from, the outside in instead of the inside out. When we're living in this reversed way where we need to get our love and our needs and our validation and everything, our worth from the outside, because we've been, trained and conditioned and distorted, manipulated into forgetting certain things about what we have within us. And so of course we're in that lack mindset, we're always hungry and thirsty for something, but we don't know what that is. And so we always, what are we going to do to survive and to, quench or try, to scratch that itch or that longing or that yearning or that need to just either feel something or numb ourselves or manipulate ourselves in other ways, substitutions, for the real thing, for the soulmate life that we've denied and we hide from ourselves, because we've had to hide that. So all of these things, have been helping me realize and see, the bigger picture and the bigger scope of things and the seen and the unseen and what everybody's going through, individually, collectively, in their own ways, in their own lives, through their own being and ways of seeing. And, being aware and caring about whatever they do. And, it's their life to live and their life to, to do whatever they want to do. So, just kind of appreciating different things, but oh man, kind of taking some of the judgments and projections really personally, because feeling them really intensely, but and I have I question myself, wow, am I really kind of feeling that? But it's it's there and it's palpable in the air, or people aren't even aware of how they constantly have been trained to do that right now. And it is a way of harvesting energy, when you're throwing it off that, with hostility and with the superiority, or because superiority complexes don't there's always inferiority that goes along with it. And so there's always a part of us that feels inferior, therefore we need to make something else. We need to be superior to it. And it's an ego game that we play, and we always we can inflate and we can get a hit of dopamine or endorphins or whatever right away from it, from some kind of pettiness or something, but later on it really does suck us, and it's a druggie that needs a little bit more next time, and because they feel a little lower after that energetic exchange. And so because there isn't pleasure without pain, and so and it's the wheel of fortune and the wheel of suffering, and what goes up must come down, and all of it is a part of it. All of it is all the way around. And so we kind of value the bliss bunny highs, and we think that spirituality looks like one perfect proper thing on a pedestal, and it's all polished and beautiful, but and it makes us exclude the messy and the dirty and the healing and the muck and the shit and all of the other mundane stuff that it takes to get to that little sacred space and that bliss bunny, high in space. And like we tend to like just value like that, and like we dread and we judge and we hate and like we resent the rest. But like yeah, so that's really immature in a way. Like, of course we know what feels good to us and everything, but like every now moment is just as valuable as the one before, the one after. It's all now. And so as you know, like some things like we don't have to value. Like some things, okay, like, yeah, the shit is the shit, and like, yeah, what can we make with it? Like, and the shit, like, yeah, look at that. It loves you and it's winking at you and it wants you to own it and play with it and squeeze it and, you know, just roll in it for, you know, sometimes, and whatever, have fun with it. This is the shit. And yeah, so like instead of kicking it away or like letting it pile up in a corner, and just like, oh, you know, like transform it and or leave it alone, you know, if you can't do anything with it. But like value it and like, yeah, let it go. Or reuse it, recycle it. And instead of just like screaming at it, saying, you're shit, and like giving all your energy to it, and it just, what does it do for you? It doesn't do shit. You know, it takes away your shit. So don't fuck with that shit. Like, you know, be smart with your shit. Be zen with your shit. Be zen. Love your shit. Like, play with it. Be with it. It has gold in it. It has stuff to show you. Get to know it. You know, get to know your shit. It's part of the sweetness. Like, and here's some of my other stuff. Like, all the little symbols that I have. Around my little house, my home. It's like just a little collection of altars all throughout, like just little things that I love and things that have really deep meaning and symbols to me and that reflect me, what's important to me, and just like, it's like on the conscious and subconscious level, like what I put into my space and like what it actually does like mean to me and what I value, and that's a part of me, like what I love and what I want to contribute to, what I want to give my energy to, what you know, what matters to me. And so like, and I just like to remind other people too, like what, you know, the magic, the beauty, the creativity, the play, you know, that we can incorporate into our everyday lives. And spirituality isn't just like those meditation practices. It isn't like just those women's circles. It isn't like going, you know, like to worship service, but that is a part of it. That's a beautiful part of it. Prayers and all of those things. But it's every single day. It's every breath. It's every moment. It's always. It's like it's always of your being connected to God, whether you forgot it or not, or whether you're like consciously like just being aware of it or everything. Man, like it just is always a being. And so like if you just like bring that mindfulness into every day in all the ways, man, shit, I just saw a mouse. I guess it's that time of year and it's getting cold out there. Man, that can't, like, they can't live here. They can't, I'm sorry. I love all critters, but they cannot share my home with me. I do have boundaries. Yeah. I do love to coexist, and I appreciate every critter's and creature's place in the whole and the web of life. But yeah, there are certain comfort levels and standards of living and being, and everyone has those preferences. And hygienic. Yeah, cares and whatnot. Man, we had a mouse infestation that was so terrible, like years and years ago, and I will never go through that again. That was like, it taught me so many lessons, and like, it told me how to clean up shit, like how, like really, like kind of like a lot of accumulated bullshit in my life, like that I had to clear out. And that was like the nasty physical experience that played out, like that showed me like what was going on, like, and it kind of forced me to to look at my shit and look at what was going on, like in my own house under my nose. Like, how bad did stuff have to get before I noticed it? Like, and then, like, it was a mess, you know, like, and that's kind of like how we've been, or we get sometimes, like, where we don't listen to, like, the knock, 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 and you're just like, you just ignore it because it's just like, you're in that pattern, and, you know, like, you know, we get in that pattern, and you know how it goes, you know how it is. Yeah, we get wrapped up in just autopilot, or wanting, our coping mechanisms to work for us in the same ways that they did. Like, there are adaptive strategies that have become maladaptive, but like sometimes we don't listen to our signals, or you know, because of instinct injury, we've kind of shut off a lot of things about listening to ourselves because it interfered with getting our needs met from the outside, or from fitting into the tribe, or kind of like fitting into dynamics, or like whatever role, whatever we had to do to survive, like coping mechanisms, survival strategies, like different personalities or roles we play, slip into different masks, different, like, different ways of playing, I guess, like, and like sometimes unconsciously strategizing, like with others, to get our needs met, you know, when sometimes we don't even know, like, what needs we need to get met, or what games we're playing out, like, you know, like, until we realize they're not working for us. You know, they were working for us, you know, sometimes they do, like, for a little bit, but yeah, sometimes we can see when they're not, you know, it's not a fit, it's not working for us, it's been destructive, it's been dysfunctional, and something's asking us for attention. And so are we going to respond to that? And sometimes it takes like a crisis and a breakdown, or like a big old shit mess. So that's part of it, though, like, man, because when the tower collapses, there's ground, you're on the ground, okay, that's, I guess, the best place to be. You're rooted, you get to start from there, you know, nourish yourself, rest, and, you know, root in and raise yourself back up, and, you know, be supported by the roots, and be, you know, and your heart, and your, you know, your real self that you can confront and really own and meet when you're down in that hell, you know. That's when, you know, sometimes you do have your so-called come to Jesus moment, and you're like, return home to yourself, like, where, you know, you face like some kind of crisis, or your mortality, and your life is forever changed, and you can't go back to the same thing. And like, so yeah, it's like the rose, you know, blooming because it was too painful to remain in the bud, and, you know, and the butterfly is struggling to get out of the cocoon. The oyster with the pearl is so irritated, and that maybe that parasite that's fucking just, but like, yeah, that's what happens. The rose the rose doesn't reject its thorns. This little rosebud came from one of my friend's yards, in a little jar that I used for like some of my homemade teas. And it was just a cute little thing, so I had to just save it as a little cute little symbol of love. And I love the rose because of all the rose symbolizes. And yeah, it's so, yeah, the lotus and the mud, taking all the nourishment that it does from the muck and from the minerals and from the dark earth. And like, don't reject that mud and that darkness and that, sometimes it's things that stink, but they need to be, attended to and transmuted and worked with and nurtured. And like, it's like an oasis in the desert too, like, and you got to include all of it and, care, receive it and accept it and ask what needs my care, like what part of me needs my care if we're hurting, and like, it's not like certain things that like pop culture tells us what to do, like self-care, but like really like getting more self-aware of like what's going on, like, but do making that space and do like good things for yourself, but like, yeah, let's be real. Yeah, this dragon. This is a rock that my stepmom painted. She paints like all sorts of things. And that's something she did for my husband. A little dragon rock. I love it. Probably love it more than he does. The dragon. And then Daenerys, Dragon Queen. She has the power, like to destroy or to protect. And sometimes, like, when we don't acknowledge that dark side and that shadow side that we have within us that does, like, want to dominate and control it, and kind of have that bloodlust and that greed, but we, like, deny it to ourselves. No, I'm the good guy. No, I'm the righteous person. I am the liberator. But they're the monsters that they're fighting because of, and they feel justified in doing that, like, and they're bloodthirsty and like cruel tyrants, like, where they think they're just and kind and justified and demand like all that obedience and blind loyalty, like, and don't want to be questioned and like need to, kill or remove anyone else who dares question. And that's like the shadow, like, and like the freaking tyrannical ego, like mind, like that we've all been kind of bind in, and like, because it's been like kind of modeled to us and like mirrored to us and shown to us, projected to us on the screen, like to make it normal. Like, and we kind of like do the monkey see, monkey do mirroring thing because we're empathetic, no matter, like, that's just a part of who we are. We're empathetic and imaginative. That's like part of like our consciousness. So yeah, our psychic stuff, like we all have a psyche, we all have an imagination, like these are the ways that we're, manipulated in, certain ways. So, and we manipulate ourselves. We've learned to be the guards of our own prisons in certain ways. But like, yeah, it's reinforced and incentivized and activated a lot, all that programming and stuff. So we need to be more aware of it, like, so that it's not running us. Like, we interrupt it, or we like learn from it, like, and course correct, and like alchemize it and use it, and then we have more personal power because we're not like plugged into that program anymore. We're plugged into our own program, and we're not like giving our different power. Like, we're more connected to ourselves now, so it does give us more personal power, like it does. And then we can be aware of other things. Like, it is kind of like a slow unraveling and kind of like a slow cleanup, like going from room to room. It is like a mansion that we have. My father's house has many rooms. Yeah, my father's house has many rooms, many mansions. And so it is interesting, like cleaning up different compartments of the psyche and different like unknown parts, and like retrieving different things and uncovering things, like, and maybe some of you will understand what I'm talking about, what I'm saying. Like, it's not all strange to me. Like, but to others, it could be incoherent rambling. But, I just wanted to come with humility and the joy of a child and, like, share some things, like, about, like, reminders of, like, who we are. Like, I know we're all going through it, and, we have our stuff, and, like, oh, man, it's been harsh. Like, everything being broadcasted to us, projected to us, and, like, everything that is, like, changing and happening and, like, kind of, unfolding, unraveling in our own lives, like, with whatever we have going on, because it's really a lot of time of upheaval and huge stuff for everybody. So there's nobody that's, like, immune, but I know there's some people that are, like, everybody's having their own experience, and then it goes in, like, ebbs and flows and, like, in waves. And sometimes we have, like, a little space, like, a couple weeks, couple months, like, where we're just, like, doing great. And then, like, then there's some, or, like, it's, like, back to back to back to back, like, what the hell, what the fuck, kind of things. And so, like, we can make it easier and more, like, just gentle on ourselves. And just, like, remembering different things. And, like, it does help so much, like, to put things into another perspective, and to remember what's true, and to, like, just, like, give ourselves a break and remember all of it. All of us is worthy. All of us is held, like, just as we are. If we can do that for ourselves, and that's what's been, like, super uncomfortable. Like, okay, generosity. Like, generosity for the self, and generosity. Like, if we give generosity to ourselves too, we can give it to others. And then if we give it to others, we can also give it to ourselves. And so that is beautiful. And these 2 feathers here, turkey feathers, that a friend gave to me and wrapped it in red and blue. And she's so beautiful. And a little turtle, the earth. So earth and sky, the air and the earth, like, together, and, like, 2, and it's like, so there's so many things here about that, like, and the lightness of generosity. And, like, because I've been feeling like that miserly, martyr. Because that's been so imbalanced. Like, because, we, like, either martyr ourselves or we think we do for others. But we're just, like, leaking a lot of energy because we feel so obligated or whatever, and resistant to whatever we're doing, that whatever we're doing is actually exhausting us because of, some kind of reversed, like, vortex vacuum of, because it's forgetting, it's not forgiving. And, like, if that makes any sense at all. Well, and, so it's an imbalance, like, because it's excess deficiency, overcompensation, and then making up for things. But, like, it's starting from a place of lack or a debt, or, like, something's owed, or, and that's how. But, like, if we were to drop that, like, when taking actions, like, taking actions for the sake of taking actions, or being grateful as we're taking the actions, that we can take those actions, and be grateful for the reasons we are taking those actions, and, and just like, let go and, like, experience the action as we perform the action. And then, like, that's less, like, energy being wasted, siphoned, and we can be more mindful and, like, kind of, like, zen in the moment of the action, and of, like, of the now, and, like, valuing the moment and of the time and the focus and the energy and attention and the opportunity that we have right now doing that action, whatever it is, whatever we need it to be at the moment. And just start, even if it's things we don't need to do or we don't like to do, like, but they're out of necessity. Like, come and approach it in a different way, and, like, see what happens, and see what transforms and changes, and see, like, if there aren't more moments that are, like, what you want to dream, and be in because of that acceptance and allowance and reception of the moment that you're in, like, in the now, and in the now, and then a now, and now, and now. And so, instead of waiting and rushing to get to another now. Like, let that now lead you. It's like, yeah, it's all the now. It's the now. It's the eternal now. And allow holy brown cow. And how. Yeah, I've been being silly, and the trickster energies come up a lot because we're all fooling ourselves in certain ways, like blaming, like a lot of things. Like, I know, like, because of the stories and because of the things, like, we're hooked in easily, and it's not wrong, and what we're seeing isn't wrong, but, like, there's more to the story and more to the agenda, and that's just, like, the surface level story. There's so much more to the story. So, yeah. Like, I think our own story about the story is more interesting. Because we're creating the story too. By, like, participating in and creating in it. So, like, yeah. Like, kind of play with that and look into that. And, like, the mirror, always the mirror, bring it back to you. And always, like, too, there's something, like, what do we get to see about it? And, like, what are we seeing? What are we not seeing? Because there is always the seen and the unseen. And sometimes, like, there is stuff that we can see that's been unseen. And it becomes seen. Like, and that's, like, doing shadow work. Or, like, becoming more observant. Like, wow, there's so much, and we just don't see it because we have other agendas and, like, other superimposed lenses that prevent us from seeing different things, and beliefs and our own limitations and our own willingness or readiness, I guess, to see certain things that, like, are right there, that we just don't. So, like, yeah, that's one of my things too lately is, like, my wounded child feels unseen, or maybe too, it's like the collective wounded child, like, is really upset and crying, and, like, it's just like one of those things where it's time to retrieve, like, some of those neglected parts because they need to be brought back home for, like, complete full integration and healing, so that, like, the real, like the other work can begin, so, like, the work of wholeness and, like, harmony and building parallel systems and all of that, like, being in integrity with oneself and, like, trusting oneself and all of that. So that, because those things need to be, like, kind of requirements, like, and, like, really grounded in the self and all that, like, yeah. Not perfect at all, like, oh gosh, we're never, and hope never to be, because, like, that just doesn't give any room to grow or be, and, like, so much rigidity to, like, stay in that kind of statuesque, frozen rigid, dense, like, frozen state, like a statue, like a marble statue, like, it's beautiful, and it never changes, and it's just, like, unless the elements wear it away, but, yeah, but it doesn't have any room for fluidity or, like, really living embodiment in it. Like, it does have an energy, like, and, like, that inspired, like, creation, like, that life, like, that was given to its creation. But, like, yeah, we kind of have a weird static image of how or who we think we should be or what we want to be, and we don't allow ourselves to be as we are, and we don't even actually know who we are, or who we could be, or who, like, or what wants to be, like, in the moment. And, like, oh yeah, so there's so many things, like, that we prohibit, like, and we limit our possibilities, and yeah, the fun that we could be having, and the play, and, like, the magic we could be making because of, yeah, certain things that we've chosen to bog ourselves down with, or tie, or, ourselves to, attach ourselves to. Like, certain false images that really limit us and kind of really narrow our focus like into pinhole perspectives when really we could be seeing like a panoramic view, like vision, like kaleidoscope vision, So it's like the cave, Plato in the cave, and like the shadows on the wall. We're all experiencing our own version of that in some area of our life. I would say we can't say that just because we're aware of certain things that we're awakened. But like we're awakening to more and more and more of ourselves. And just because like, we've realized certain things and we've awakened to certain miracles and possibilities doesn't mean that we're better or that we're like, more advanced or superior to others. It just means like that we're on this part in our journey where this is what gets to unfold for us. And we get to do it with love and enjoy and in service, and have fun and just be ourselves and do what we are here to do for ourselves and the whole and each other and for all we love and our devotion to love and to God and to all that's dear to our hearts, to the beloved, who everything, remembering that every day, that's the anchor, that's the way, that's for me anyway, one of my ways, lighthouse. And then we're accepting and having fun with the play. This is supposed to be some kind of game. And you can't just cut away different parts we don't like sometimes. We don't have to really engage with them. But let's have fun and let's stop some of the limiting judgments of certain things that we have about each other and ourselves and about the healing process, about really everything, because we have so much rigid, strong, kind of shadow shitty opinions about a lot of things. I mean, I've noticed that people spiritually vomit and shadow dump on each other a lot, and they're not even receiving the message that the other person's really offering. They make it about them because it always has to be and they miss out on a lot of things that they could receive. But the person, is offering, the writer, the creator, whoever is sharing. And people just really have knee-jerk reactions. They throw out the baby with the bathwater. I don't know, I guess they need some way to control their environment, and it's the way they act out, but it's just so really unconscious and inconsiderate, and it's just not making connections that might make somebody feel better, to say blah blah or whatever for a minute, but is that really contributing, or is it just adding to some of the disconnection and demoralization and reinforcing the lack and the misery and the martyr mice are programming. They don't have anything nice to say sometimes. It's just whatever, you don't have to like it, but I don't know, people, come on now, work through it, bring it to your own space and work it. What is this? Is it that important? Do you need to look at it and see what you can do with it, or do you need to just dump it on a person and leave it there shit on their fucking front porch? It's why is that necessary? It's fucking man, dope, fucking derpy, spiritual and emotional retardation, a lot of it. It's just okay, love it. The two shits. Fuck it, I love it. Tantrums. Narcissistic toddlers, and I love them. It's you know what? Damn it. And just like people self-congratulatory. Yeah. The Trickster. Yeah. It's the snow. Like, it is what it is. And have fun with it. And just have faith. And like, it all spins every way. And, love always. And like, it's all part of the whole. Everything comes from within. And like, yeah. We don't have to swim in it. Like, if it doesn't resonate with us, or if it doesn't resonate or jingle our bells, And so, yeah. Clearing and like guidance and like grounding, but also like envisioning and inspiration, like really going within and seeing the spire, like the spire connecting, tuning in, attuning. And like the water's been huge. Water, so like the shells too, that's a huge symbol, the shells. And then there's sea glass in there, and like polishing and refining, and like just being at home in the ocean, and yeah, like being polished and smooth, and just in tiger's eyes been coming up a lot, feline energy and everything, like golden sun and everything. Oh my gosh, that's been huge. And there's copper. Copper's been huge. Glasses and lenses and seeing and perception and misperceptions. Misperceptions. Fucking hell. And then the mother and the water and the earth and the camel and the camel. Yeah, the desert. The camel and the deserts. Shekinah, and the Holy Grail, and the well, the sacred well, and everything grows from inside. Are you caring for it? Is it well? And this one is a bad example because this air plant kind of is dry and neglected. But like, it's decorative gourd season, motherfuckers, and this is so cute. My aunt gave it to me. I love all these little gifts of gestures and of sweetness and love and care. And so, yeah. And the Pooh, Winnie the Pooh, the Zen of Pooh. And how my little granddaughter loves the Pooh Bear. And he's got a lot of wisdom to share, and so do his friends. And that 100-acre wood and that in the forest. Yeah, their adventures. Like the little archetypes and the little things, how they help each other, and they all have gifts and like little quirks. Yeah, it's like innocent and precious and profound as well, but yeah, pretty cute and odd. There's some innuendo in it, I have to say. And I've seen some really naughty memes with poo in them, and it's like, make me shake my head. And then there's this little penis shot glass. Yeah, that was a gift. And I put citrine in it because it's like, yeah, vitality, like, and livelihood, and like wealth and prosperity, like, and that comes from within, right? Like, and yeah, that's like the drive and the action of the masculine, and the vitality, like the force that moves, like, and acts and gives, initiates things. And like, this reminds me, I think this is ocean jasper, of a teardrop. And it just reminds me of the ocean. It's really, really calming, and it just feels like pure and like serene. Little geodes, amethyst, and I'm not sure that's turquoise, but like in my My auntie gave me this little butterfly organite piece, butterfly with the copper in it. That's so cool. Tree of Life, Yggdrasil, and the Trickster. Yeah, mushrooms, eternal life, and so much more about connections and unseen realms, and hidden knowledge, and wealth, magic, transformation. And also, it does have its dark side as well, like parasitic and predatory. Yeah, and tea, have a cup of tea and, enjoy the tea and spill the tea and, free the tea. And not everybody's gonna be my cup of tea, and I'm not gonna be everybody's cup of tea either, so let it be. And enjoy the tea with those who like your tea, And I have some pretty good tea, so if I don't say so myself. And this beautiful, beautiful spiral, with the spiraling, spiraling through ourselves to the center, to the heart of ourselves. And we're, just moving through the journey. Through ourselves, really, really. That's all we realize. And know ourselves. And so, peacock feather, the phoenix, and transformation, and Lakshmi, and generosity, and prosperity, and beauty, and harmony. All good things, and the torch and the spark. And that wealth, the inner prosperity of being connected to that love gives to all it is, just like the sun. Never asks for anything in return, but the sun loves, and then loves the light of the earth. And the hands, the microcosm to the macrocosm. Oh, there's so much in the hands, so much healing, so much life, so much energy, so much power in the hands, and all the hands symbolize. There's worlds and, to find in the hands, if you can see with those eyes, more mushrooms. And, I think this is kyanite and ruby. And it is so unique, and I love the egg, and it's it reminds me of a dragon egg. And, ruby. Ruby, such a precious gem. I love my little ruby. Ruby, so dear to me, more precious than anything. My little ruby. And, labradorites. Such a water girl, such a mermaid, such a shapeshifter. Love the shapeshifter in me. Love it. Gotta be it, or else I'm depleting me, man. I gotta be the trickster, I gotta be the coyote, I gotta be the joker sometimes. I gotta mix the profane with the sacred, or I'm gonna go insane sometimes. It can't be too serious, but I am very serious about a lot of things, and I can get my own way. I value my seriousness and my reverence, my devotion to things, but man, I gotta really unclench sometimes, and that's why sometimes it bothers me when I see that on the outside, where people have their assholes so tight, puckered tight, they're choking themselves and choking everyone and sucking all the air out of the room. Just breathe, motherfucker. Let go of that bullshit. Fuck that. Do that fuck that meditation. Come on. Come back. Go out to the full moon and reflect, and, pull down your pants, give your own full moon, come back home, be humble, be true. Sometimes we get too full of ourselves. Gotta come back home and laugh. Laugh at ourselves, laugh at our predicament, laugh at our situation, laugh at our follies and our misperceptions, and all the seriousness and like break that and like make room like for what wants to come in, for what wants to like, freshen, and breathe and open and, and blossom. So, yeah. Sometimes you gotta like let that fucking fart rip out and remember like, oh yeah, I'm just like everybody else, So letting go in all sorts of clever ways. Just trying to remind people there are no wrong ways. And I think we've been a little bit harsh because we've wanted it to be a certain way. And like our little inner child and our egos like pouty, self-pity and self-important and shame, like stuck in toxic shame, like you're not the way I want you to be. And it's not the way I want it to be right now. And like, I'm not the way I want to be right now. And things aren't the way I want to be right now. And you're disallowing the now where there's fertile ground for things to grow. And you don't even appreciate what you do have right now and what's being offered to you and what's being given to you right now. And you just want to shit on it. So, yeah, let's turn that around. Like, seriously, if you needed that, you're welcome. And yeah, I got more. And so friendship and sunflowers. Yeah, following the sun and heliocentric and yeah, the solar goddess. The solar symbols, yeah. Even though the sun is waning now, and that's the darker time, coming into the darker time of the year, with the harvest season and the end of the growing season and like the barren time, like still the solar symbol, like, oh my gosh, it's coming up like huge, like maybe because it's the inner sun that's being activated, and like the solar feminine and everything. So yeah, I've been feeling like that, and like a lot of lion energy, cat energy, goddess, like Bastet and like Sekhmet and Hathor and Isis. And this is like this big, huge malachite piece that I like saw, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I need malachite in my life, and it's like super interesting. Like, oh my gosh, like, man, I don't know if you can really, see what's going on in there, but like it's pretty cool. Pretty unique. So yeah, malachite and Hathor is the goddess of beauty and like nourishment and the mother and fertility and generosity and just like milk and honey and just like plenty, like prosperity for all of her children. It's just everything that you need. She just loves you so much, like, and it's heaven, being nurtured and taken care of by that beautiful mother that loves you so much and wants to give you everything and give you all of her love. And that's just like the archetype that she embodies to me, and I know that I have that within me that I can give to myself and share with others too. But the sad thing is too, is like sometimes people are so full of like what they don't have, or like their own agenda of how they want it to look, that they don't make the room to receive the love that's like being offered or is there. If they would be open to receive it, then it could be shared. But then I think, that's just how, then they think like, oh, nobody's giving, like, or like everybody's clenched or fisted or tight-fisted or and then, like, I guess when we aren't able to give, like, we kind of start to feel a little miserly. I mean, that's speaking for myself, but maybe others can relate to that. And maybe there's an imbalance there that can be corrected. But, yeah, because, some of these things I do want to share. I want to share. I have, like, fountains and fountains and fountains of things to share. But it's just, like, nobody, it's just, like, where do I find those people that want to receive my gifts and honor them and appreciate them rather than just like take and not like honor and acknowledge and appreciate, So it's just like, I guess those are the things I get to look into and to see into for myself, like to create this new wealth to be exchanged and reciprocated and honored and regenerated, in this new holistic way of giving and receiving and sharing and offering, like not the transactional way, but in a balanced and harmonious, reciprocal, honoring ways. And so thanks for listening. If you have been here with me on my little journey, I haven't shared for quite a bit. It's been a couple months, but I do feel like I am, I've been through a lot and I've cleared a lot of blocks and been able to express some things for myself that I never have been able to before. Like feel more embodied, more grounded, more authentic in my relationships and in who I am, and a more grounded sense of self and remembering who I am, and it's more of a conscious connection, remembering like on a daily basis instead of free floating being sort of magnetized to anything. Like a moth to a light. It's like more of a lighthouse feeling where I'm in my field and not like gravitated to somebody else's energy field right away or sucked into someone else's vortex, which because, oh man, that wasn't working for me. And I feel like I had to withdraw from